Hello, welcome to my place. I want to read to you from Ecclesiastes chapter 3. It's a well known portion, it's the first 8 verses. And this is what it says: To everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck what is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to gain and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. If I was a betting man, I would say that every one of us has experienced everything in this list. You know, Solomon seemed to be in almost a depression when he wrote the words of these first few chapters in Ecclesiastes. He calls it all meaningless. He says that everything that lives experiences life and then it dies. Almost all of Ecclesiastes is very dismal and bleak. There are a few verses here and there that are not so much dismal, but everything, especially when you get to the end, points towards God. In Ecclesiastes 12:13, he says, "Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter, of all these things that are meaningless." It says, "Fear God, keep his commandments, for this is man's all." This is the key to life. It is important that no matter what goes on in our lives, God is still there for us. We have a tendency to rely on what happens around us and what we can control. And when we can't control it, then we spiral out of control. But this should never be. What I just described will result in what Solomon was talking about. Everything is meaningless. But if we get a different mindset together, everything will have meaning. Yes, God says life happens. But he also says in Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, he says in summary, trust me, not you. Let me guide you. It'll be fine. God bless you richly. See you next time.